Oh, look at that. Look at that. We're live. Hold on a second. Why don't we do one of these things so then we get a little bit of a countdown there? Well, hello, everybody. It is me, and Brandon Russ. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for being part of my journey, and I hope you're going to enjoy this tonight. We're going to do a little bit of a deep dive into what's going on. Is there a debate tonight? I don't know if you heard anything about that or not, but it seems to be. I don't really know if that is really kind of what is going on right now. You're going to want to go and check out my website, tbrandonruss.com. That's how you get a hold of me. That is, nobody solicits you from you. Nobody sends you a message and says, I have a message for you. Go ahead and give me $1 million, and I'll let you know if anything is better than whatever. It's where you find things. It's also where you find my events and all the fun stuff that I have coming up here. I'm going to go ahead and front load this because I don't often talk about my stuff as much as I should. I have got a chock full thing. This is just September and October, everybody. I'm going to be up at the I'm going to be at, by the way, we're having a garage sale here at Spirit Tree. Those of you that know the old Spirit Tree, all that other good stuff, I've just got boxes and 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 boxes. I got a bunch of stuff. We're going to lay them out on the table. You're going to give us an offer, and we're going to say okay or not. That's kind of how it's going to go. There's going to be a few price tags on them, but you want to load up on some crystals. You want to see some unique items. You want to see some stuff like, oh my gosh, I never saw this. You want to take the shelf? Go ahead. Anyways, have a great day. We're making room, buy more instruments, but whatever. So that's kind of fun on Saturday. The rest of the, if you're out in Sylvan Beach, the Oneida Lake Center, if you're up in Glens Falls, Saratoga area, the Shirt Factory, I'm going to be doing a book signing. Then I'm going to have a show that night. Our old friend Joan Reed, we love her. She's not old, by the way. Our good friend Joan Reed up there at the Shirt Factory. I'm also going to be down at the Park Theater on the 29th. It's actually on the Sunday. My mistake on that one. We'll fix that. Got another online circle on the 3rd. Got a whole bunch of things coming on. By the way, I also have a circle this coming Thursday. So if you are international, if you're not local, and you still want to kind of, get a message, what have you, fantastic. Jump into that. American Legion, I actually skipped one. I've got 2 that I've added on. I'm going to be down in Oneonta at the, oh my gosh, I can't remember any of this stuff anymore, but I'm going to be down in Oneonta. Check out the website if I can spell. I didn't even spell it right, did I? Yeah, I spelled it right. I just have stuff on my screen. I'm going to be part of the Spooktacular down in Gilboa. Those of you that know that where that whole infrastructure facility is, it's really cool. They asked me to come and do readings all day. I'm going to be in Gloversville at the Glove on the 25th. That is a full stage show. You're going to love that. And then I'm going to be with our friend James up at the LBH Soul Center in Glens Falls again. Hang on. I got November and December to give you. But you're going to want to jump onto one of these because I'm telling you, I'm not going back to those areas. Start paying attention, guys. Start paying attention. Anyways, so thanks so much for joining me. I need to talk about the energy of stuff. And by the way, I hope you like my new old sign. I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. I think it's important to vote. You might be frustrated. You might be annoyed. You can say, oh my gosh, that's not, oh my gosh, these are the candidates still. There is an improvement depending on which side of the aisle you're on. We're dealing with the demagoguery that in any other reality, and even if you're a Trump fan, you would have to admit that you wouldn't be the candidate. They're like, oh, he's been rigged in the I'm just here to tell you that innocent people typically don't need immunity. I'm just gonna put that out there. Number two, and really kind of thoughtfully, I think it's interesting that we don't really know all of the deets coming into a lot of things, but this is where we have to trust our gut. You see how important intuition is, everybody? By the way, if you want to develop your intuition, it's just us girls. If you want to really develop your intuition, why aren't you in my classes? Because coming up here at the end of the month, by the way, we get together Monday, noon time, and you're like, oh, I'm at work. And it's like, yeah, perfect time. Close the door, lock it up, put your headphones on. If you're not listening to me, you're listening to your football picks going to the tank, right? Anybody else's team already blown up? I got a couple. But guess what? Let's just say you love to be into a live class. That's fantastic, and you make it, for noon. Maybe you sit in the car. We have a few people that do that. We have a few people that join in. We have some discussion from time to time, but it's generally me presenting information for you, so then you can take it away and do whatever activities that kind of come along with it. Or you can binge watch it like a lot of people do, like Paula does from time to time, like Kelly does from time to time, right? Patty, I don't know why you're not involved with this. It's $44 a month. It's $11 a class. Where else can you get? You have to buy. I got a large coffee, and I'm not going to say the name of the place. The coffee was delicious, by the way, but I'm not going to say the name of the place. But its initials were Caribou Coffee. I just said it, didn't I? Anyways, it was really good coffee. I paid $9 for the coffee. $9. I was at a state fair. Don't get me wrong. But I got carried away. So for $2 more, I could have had a class. Just letting you know. Right? Oh, Kelly, thank you for that. She's saying so worth it. Join the class. Just to let you know, Rousey endorsement. It's a lot of fun. It's a great community. Oh, by the way, you can also log on a little bit early, and everybody kind of gets into a chit chat. We talk about the energy. We always talk about the astrology. We take a couple of tarot cards every week, and then we talk about a topic. That's how we go. These topics coming up are going to be to develop your intuition, that gut feeling. I think this is the time. This is the most important time to develop your intuition, because you're not getting the real deal. We have things caught up in court systems. We get things of unknown candidates. Listen, guys, if you think I've picked a side, I've only picked the side because I know which way it's not worth that. Right? It all depends upon how you go. It all depends upon what your gut feeling brings to you. It's all about where you want, and what is intuition? It is the logical progression of the things that you've known, the experiences that you had, and the trust and the will of where you're at in that moment. We're going to need that more than ever. Has anyone been trustworthy in any of this? I don't know. I'm going to pull some cards on it. Don't worry. And I'm going to pull some cards for you too. We're going to do a handful of shuffle up and heels. Don't you worry. We're going to get there. Not really sure which angle my camera is at. It could either be firmly on the top of the table, or it could be getting this side of my jaw. What? Few too many hits the snake. Hey, Bethany, how are you? I'm not sure who Cece is, but that's kind of cool. Let's take a look at the astrology of what's going on tonight. And I want to, actually, before we get into that, I think it was very strategic that they did this debate on September the 10th, because I think that with the turmoil that's about to come, and it's coming astrologically, I'm telling you, it's coming on the chatter of what I understand from our boys in blue. They are going to be on guard from our upcall military. They are on their toes. This shit's about to get real, everybody. But from what I'm understanding and where I'm seeing a lot of this, we are absolutely coming into a time where everybody is expecting conflict. And we're not going to get the real deal anymore, anybody. When you look at where we're going with things, we're not going to get real information. I mean, I just read another thing about how much Russia has just gotten more stealth about their, about how they're swinging elections now. Like, what? Like, this whole thing of being a free country gives people free access. So do we want to be a free country, or do we want to shut off access? Well, we don't want them. You don't get to pick and choose. That's the whole thing with all of this. So is the information that we're getting real or not? I want to also take a look at 9/11. And I know I'm throwing you guys a curveball 12 minutes into this, 11 minutes into this, go figure. But you guys are about to get inundated with 9/11 energy. And I pointed that this is a little glimpse into how class was earlier today, too. We actually talked about this because I think it is my duty to really give you guys a little bit of a feel. We're going to take a look at the debate here in a second. We're going to take a look at me again. Get your tickets now, tbrandonruss.com. But we're going to take a look at the 9/11 first plane. And again, if you can give me 5 minutes on this, I just want to point out what you're going to be inundated with tomorrow. And it's based on the energy from 2001. I asked my class, because they're astute, they're smart, they've been in this game for a while. I asked them what jumped out at them. And someone who's very bright said there's a lot of squares, and then I added there's a lot of oppositions. So the squares and the oppositions mean that there's like activations, right? Sometimes kind of forced activations with squares, like almost like a tower moment in tarot. But the opposition is kind of like the push and pull. So then if you know who you are, that's the side you're going to go with. There are a few very specific things onto this. You've got the sun in opposition to Lilith. Lilith sitting here in Virgo, and Lilith sitting here in Pisces. And this created a duality of pain of, are we going to be self-centered or are we going to keep ourselves open? It actually closed us off in a lot of ways, but it exposed the idea that we were in for some pain here. So pay attention to that. And I'll do a recap here at the end of it. You'll also see Mercury sitting here in Libra. And by the way, Mercury is currently in Virgo. It's going to be a big thing for the debate here in a second. But the fact that it's sat on the AC line, but in the 12th house, means that it was like our miscommunication was all over the place. We never got the full deal. We never got the full deal on any of this. Back on the oppositions here, you've got Pluto in opposition to Saturn. Everything that we were known for in our structure was getting challenged. Sounds familiar? Because it's a thing. Then, of course, you have the north and south node always in opposition, but in this case, you have Mars connected to the south node, and then you have the moon connected to the north node with some Jupiter energy too, which is an amped up emotional state. Amped up emotional state, like we're number one on steroids. And the south node was like, we're comfortable with war. We are ready to go. Right? So that invoked the which one of these is not like the other, which one of us is more important, us or you. And then you have a very interesting thing with Venus in Leo and Uranus in Aquarius. Aquarius is actually it kind of steals the show here a little bit for me. Because you have Uranus about communication and rebellion and change and technology. And then you have Venus in Leo, which is not a very comfortable placement for Venus. And it's basically saying you're going to love that we need to change things. In a weird sort of way, it's kind of taking away some of our civil rights. Oh, and did I mention that Mercury, or that Aquarius kind of stole the show a little bit? Look at Venus, or look at Neptune here. Sitting here at the 6th degree. It's actually an 8 if you add in the minutes here, but the 6th degree, which is about a new beginning, this could arguably be our moment where we begin to go into the age of Aquarius, right? Where we decided to really change things, where we started to get catapulted into some things. I think we're going to look back at 9/11 and say this is where the story didn't match what our intuition was. And again, I'm not saying people didn't die, and I'm not willing to say that, there's drones and blah, blah, blah. It's just the narrative doesn't fit. Gravity doesn't fall that quickly in the history of the world, and on that day it did 3 times. It just reconcile that with me. Just reconcile that, and I will be like, I believe the entire narrative. They can't. And they won't. And when we do find out, we're going to go back to this date and say, holy shit, this is where they got good at lying. This is where they didn't care about lying. What does that have to do with the debate? Hold on a second, we'll talk about it. This is the dynamic in which the United States, and really, in a sense, the world, started to behave differently, right? We were super comfortable beforehand. I mean, think about where the world would be if 9/11 didn't happen. Air travel would be an easy peasy lemon squeezy. My father in a wheelchair, I mean, we kind of got a fast pass in a way, but he still took 15 minutes to get through there. They ushered him to the front of the line. It still took him 15 minutes. And you're like, well, okay, well, it's 15 minutes out of your life. It's like, yes, so what? Right? We are, we have allowed ourselves to let in all you got to do is, and we have this primer now of how we behave based on all you got to do is. Everybody pick up your phone if you're not already watching it. Go ahead and open it up. All you got to do is put in your code. All you got to do is put on your thumbprint or your face or whatever. All you got to do is, right? Oh, sure, you can get that. You want that discount? All you got to do is pay attention to how many all you got to do is that you pay attention to. There you just do ad hoc now, right? The world is, and by the way, in human resources, that's called a workaround. And the more workarounds you have, the more your system doesn't work. You know, you're given one to be like, we'll get around to fix it. In the moment, we need to be able to use this, right? When I was buying a car a few months ago, their system had an update, and the update took down the system. And in one side of it, I was kind of like laughing because I'm like, oh yeah, here's Uranus, here's my, what am I doing finishing a deal during Mercury retrograde? I like to look the devil right in the eye and say, all right. So the system went down, and this kid who had maybe sold 5 cars in his life, you know, he's been there 6, 7, 8 months, barely has a job. I'm like, I'm another 60-day meal ticket for him, right? And he had to fill out the paper from scratch in triplicate. And it was the most basic form I've ever seen. All you got to do is just, that's his manager standing behind him. All you got to do is just fill it out. You got to put in the VIN number. You got to put in his name. You got to put in his license number. All you got to do is. And he was so used to just taking a scan and having the scan put it all in. He's like, yep, easy peasy. Be back in 5. Nope. Now he had to actually work. Now, on one side of it, you're like, well, you should probably learn that from scratch anyways. That way you understand the methodology of what goes on in the computer program. But in this case, everybody there had their pants down because they were like, I don't want to. I just have to. Is that a ballpoint? One guy 4 desks away filled it out in a flare pen. The guy go and the girl from the office is like, you got to redo this. All you got to do is just use a ballpoint pen. How many things do we not know the process to and we get thrown into? And my cable shut off the other day. I'm like, all right, you know, I'll call up 10 minutes before kickoff. If you would like to speak to someone in English, press 1. Para Española, dos por favor. 1. Because if you hit it too early, it says, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. So now we're relegated to a very specific training of behavior again. We're specifically needing to do things or say things. You know, how many times do you find yourself on those calls and then you say as eloquently as possible, yes. Sorry, that was loud. No. Or in my case, I just sat there for 10 minutes going, human. I want to talk to a human. It's kickoff. I missed the first 10 minutes of the Vikings-Giants game. Skull baby. And then I go through this phone tree of this, that, and the other thing, and I get to the person and I say, hey, the box isn't working. It's saying it needs to be reset. I went through all the steps to reset, but I go to your convenient app on my phone, and it says you're all set. And then she goes, well, all you got to do is just reset everything. And I go, I've done that. Oh, all you got to do is just go to the app on the phone. I did that. Well, all you got to do is just reset the button and go to the app at the same time. And finally, I mean, I'm just blank staring at my screen, getting notifications of yardage by the Vikings and going, what am I doing here? Right? And what's interesting about this is that by the time I got somebody, it was 3 minutes. I said, listen, I'm super frustrated. Kickoff has already happened. I'm debating whether or not I just pack everything up and bring it to you and just cancel my cable, and I'll figure it out next week. Because you've got one job right now and it's at 1 o'clock on a Sunday. After really, literally, hardly watching anything all summer. I wasn't home. You guys saw my schedule. I finally have a day where I'm going to mow the lawn. Kids and I are going to play video games. And we got it planned out. I probably napped a little too long, but that's besides the point. And I turn it on, and all I want to do is just see the game. And I had resigned to the fact that I'm probably not going to see the game at this point. The one game that's televised locally that has the Vikings on it, by the way. It's as they're playing the Giants. Oh, sure, I'll see the 9 a.m. game when they play the Jets in London. Thanks a lot for that. But I'm pleading with her, and I go, I don't know what to do. And she goes, huh, that's weird. And I go, what's weird? She's like, I'm getting a strong signal. It's saying everything's okay. I'm beginning to think all I got to do is hit the reset from our end of it. I go, could you do that? She goes, I already did it. She goes, I want you to turn it off. Wait a minute, turn it back on. Click, click. And she goes, I want you to let me know when something happens, when if the television gets the signal then. And I said, so what happened? And she said, well, every once in a while it's set so that then we have communication with our clients, and and it's a really simple thing. All we got to do is just hit the reset. And the Vikings throw for another 7 yards for a first down. Sam Darnold has just gone 12 for 12. And he's moving it efficiently down the field. And I said, well, that seemed to work. She goes, I'm glad it was simple. But I didn't have control over it. We live in a self-service world. Have you been to the grocery store? And by the way, every chance I get, I mention this. I love to go to the self-checkout register attendance Christmas party at the local Hannaford here. It's hysterical. It really is hysterical. Right? That is correct. The Giants did get whooped. The Vikings aren't that good, but stay the faith. We'll take the wins when we can get them. But the reality is, what it really kind of taught me is that I had to critically think in that moment. Right? By the way, this was Spectrum. Spectrum is also responsible for giving me news, for giving me entertainment, for giving me the movies that I've memorized 6 ways to Sunday. There's some joy in this relationship, but it has nothing to do with Spectrum. They're just the ones that are at the front of the line now. And all you got to do is give them the money. Think about that during this debate. All you got to do is women's rights are taken away. All you got to do is go 3 states over. The gerrymandering of the districts. All you got to do is it's a perpetual cheat and then counterplay. All you got to do is we live in a country where all you got to do is already done and said. We have 248 years, 49 years of precedence of doing it fairly well. And it wasn't until the last 23 years that we started to have workarounds around our own freedoms. All you got to do is take your shoes off. All you got to do is get an enhanced ID. What the fuck does an enhanced ID have to do with your security? It's another level of tracking. It's another level of all you got to do is. Why do we put up with it? Well, it's a small inconvenience for our freedom. I don't know about anybody that has flown in the last even 5 years. I've done a lot of flying in the last couple of years. I have met Muslim people, plenty of them, and not one of them wanted to harm me. Not one of them. I mean, they might not like the way that I looked. They might have cast some sort of judgment on me, but they didn't wish me ill will. Same thing for any other ethnicity that I saw. But we were poised to hate. We were poised to go ahead and mistrust and to give away freedoms and to be, if that's the way that it's going to make it work, all you got to do is just. Donald Trump, all you got to do is just say you didn't do it and show the proof you didn't do it. Uh-oh, shit just got real. Judge Chutkan actually knows exactly what she's doing, and I know it was very disappointed that people didn't hear her sentence before the election and being like, wouldn't you want to know if they're going to be elected? Sometimes the ambiguity is right there. Guess what? You need to have intuition. Is this guy guilty or not? You don't even need to comment. But all you got to do is just trust your gut. Uh-oh, checkmate. Because the more you trust your gut and you hear a story that doesn't resonate with you, you go, it doesn't work for me. Right? All you got to do is just trust your gut. When Matt Gaetz sits there and says, yeah, we shouldn't really investigate anybody in this Congress. Really, Matt? This is all I'm going to say. If he wasn't being elected, he would have met, what's his name? Chris Matthews or whatever the hell his name is. We really shouldn't look at the trading behavior of anybody in our legislature. Bullshit, Nancy Pelosi. All you got to do to have a good democracy is look the other way. The energy of this is insane. Let's see how they're going to do tonight. All right, 9/11, here we go. Oh, gosh, I wish this was, I'm going to go like this. Yeah, that makes it a little bit bigger at least. I'm the good looking guy in the bottom left hand corner. So what you're looking at is the debate. The debate is the center square. That is the astrology of what you see. That is the static electricity. So if somebody was to be born today at 9 o'clock, somewhere near Philadelphia, this is what their natal chart would look like. Now, oh, and by the way, did you see that I'm teaching an astrology class? For 222, you're going to get 5 weeks of your astrology. I kind of know how to teach this, guys. I don't know if you know this or not, but I've gotten pretty good at it. If you're curious about astrology, take my class. For 222, that's a cup. That's what, 20 cups of coffee now at this point? It's about right. Anyways, on the center square here, you have the astrology of the day. What's going on here? In the middle rim is the, yeah, Kelly, great. I saw that actually. Thank you. The center band is Kamala Harris's chart, basically against this chart, against the debate chart. So in other words, what you do in a comparison, when you start to compare, you take the center date and then you compare it. And then in the outer rim is Donald Trump. And again, I didn't choose it for any other reason other than to say, I mean, maybe I went by age or maybe I went by whatever. It actually doesn't matter, because if I was to flip Kamala and Donald, it would just be the inside or the outside. Like they would actually be lined up to the houses. Okay. So on the inner plank here, what makes this a very interesting chart, And I'm going to go planet by planet now and tell you who would win, who's got the edge. Maybe not who's going to win, but who's got the edge or who's got the disadvantage, right? So you have on the inner circle here, again, I wish I could go a little bit more blown up here, but you have on the inner rim here, you have Uranus in the first house. You have Taurus rising. Expect a lot of conversation about money and finances. Natally, it's the second house, but Taurus is about principles. They're going to be talking about principles a boatload tonight. Uranus sitting in the first house is about kind of an orthodoxy. This actually isn't comfortable for either one of the candidates, but we're going to talk about this a little bit more. Then you have Jupiter here in the second house. Again, money, money, money. And it's going to be two different sides. This is where Gemini really kind of takes over. And you're going to be surprised with some of my takes on this. And then you have Mars currently in Cancer in the third house. Tet on tet, baby. We're going to get it on. Mars in the third house is about a spirited debate. Literally. The fourth house, I'm sorry to say, is a little bankrupt in terms of like family values. Now, is it a blank slate? You can look at it that way. But I love that Mercury and Vesta are hanging out together in Mercury in the fifth house. A lot of creative energy right here. Boatload of creative energy. So don't be surprised if we're actually getting a little bit of the best of both worlds. So I think this is actually setting the stage for both candidates to put their best foot forward, whatever that looks like. Then you have the sun in the sixth house. So this will be very much about myself, which makes sense in a debate like this. And then you have Venus saddled with Lilith in the south node right here. These are going to be about, people are going to talk about their lessons. People are going to talk about their healing, their arc. Whoever does that the best will be speaking to the day the best. You guys getting where this is going yet? The seventh house, this isn't about being friends. You've got the moon here in the eighth house. So this is in Sagittarius. So you've got a little bit of this money thing comes up again, right? Because the eighth house is about other people's money. It's the Scorpio house. So it's kind of about shared resources, what we kind of pull from, right? Wait till we get into this analysis. And then we have Pluto sitting here in the 10th house. Well, of course, in the 29th Anaric in Capricorn, there's the money sign again. There is the, okay, well, how are we going to get back to this? Listen to the debate about how they talk about how I want to be known moving forward, right? And then you have Saturn in the 11th house. This is about a unifying, like, this is us walking into a new world. That is very important into any of this. Are we ripping apart kind of our old codependencies, that sort of thing? And then the 12th house having Neptune in it. Expect a bunch of lies. Sorry to blow up the thing in all of this. But the North Node is sitting here in Aries in the 12th house, along with Chiron. Well, what's interesting about the 12th house is that it's a spiritual house. And when Neptune sits in a spiritual house in the 12th house of spirit, you're ready to reveal what your faith is. This is actually in our best interest to be able to trust our gut. Neptune in the 12th house here is about us, not about the candidates. It's about us trusting our gut. Just assume they're going to lie like fucking mad. And by the way, every politician doesn't. Even your favorite politician ain't perfect. It's the way it rolls. It's just how it rolls, guys. So now on the next rim, you have, and I'm going to take the comparison. I'm going to go house by house, and I'm just going to basically say who has the advantage into this, right? So in the first house, you have Jupiter in Kamala's first house, nothing in Donald's first house. You could make the argument that he's a little, morally bankrupt. There's not a lot there in this moment or on this stage. it definitely goes to Kamala here because Jupiter in conjunct to Uranus, and by the way, as this kind of approaches and as we kind of like work through into the election, the Jupiter is a big deal. Jupiter is a super big deal. We're also going to see how the Jupiter works to Donald's advantage here in a little bit as well. So then you have the second house. The second house having Jupiter in it when they talk about money issues, so forth and so on. You're going to hear Kamala here in the second house. Again, she's in the second tier here, the North Node in Gemini. Expect her to talk a little bit out of both sides of her mouth, just to let you know. Now, what's Donald going to do? Also going to talk a little bit out of both sides of his mouth, but he is going to weave a new creation. Uranus is sitting there, and his son is sitting there. I have to say, this is advantage to Trump because he's going to, and this is where our gut comes in. Because not for nothing, I'm just going to let you guys know this because this is what the experts do. You've got Neptune here at the 28th degree. I mean, at 28 degrees, give or take, or 26. Here in the 12th house in Neptune. And guess what? We've got the 24 and the 22 degree here squaring Neptune. So they're going to be able to really kind of weave a lot of bullshit. They're going to be able to be like, my taxes and my tariffs and my blah, blah, blah. And the Uranus just means he's going to be not dealing with reality. He's just going to be talking about things that are just kind of like did you just say I should drink chlorine? Did you just tell me to shoot up Clorox? Like, this placement is not kind to someone that's logical. But advantage him because that's not his game. His game isn't logic. His game is making you believe that whatever he's saying is actually authority. He doesn't. This is where you really have to have agency, guys. You have to have agency. Now, in the third house, we've got Mars. And then you have Trump having his Mercury sitting here in the third house. And not too much with Kamala. Guess what? This goes to Trump, guys. Expect him to remember in the first debate that he had with Biden when he just mopped him up. Sorry. And he was reserved and contained. Expect him to be like this because they're going to say to him, this is the spot you gotta shine. And guess what? The stars are aligning for him to shine right now. Don't worry. Calm down. I'm going to tell you where he begins to hinge. And this is a very real look at this. Because you have the things of here in the fourth house where there is a void here, and there's a void in Kamala's chart. And then you have his Pluto, you have Venus, you have Saturn. Saturn sitting in Cancer is not really the best placement, guys. Right? Saturn in any water sign is just kind of like don't do me any favors. And then you have Venus sitting here, also in Cancer, which is a little more of an amicable placement. But to have Pluto sitting here in Leo in the fourth house, hold on to your hats here, guys. He's going to overplay his family. And I'll still call my shot on this. I think one of his family members are going to go to jail. It might be Jared. Might be Junior. Might be Eric. You know, Eric seems like he's not really up on things. But I can see, if I was going to predict something out of this right here, I'm going to say Kamala is going to be like, my family, my heritage, that sort of thing. Get over it. Just it as is. Don't judge me on the color of my skin, but on the content of my character. That's what a void says right here. Like, you're making this an issue when it's not. Trump is going to make it an issue. And let me tell you something. Saturn in this position is going to show him that maybe Melania doesn't want to be with him. This is a not good placement for him at all. And even though there's nothing for him to grasp on, he's going to take action on it. So here's the burn. At first, it's going to look like Trump's going to sail on this. He's going to be like, this is great. He's a person of the people and blah, blah, blah. And even though he's a convicted rapist and he has all these horror stories and he's, a womanizer, blah, 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 all this other stuff, he really looked good until September 11th. He's going to look great in the moment. This is going to burn him long term. So this is a push for all intents and purposes, but I think this is going to be super interesting to see how he uses his family. Now, the fifth house. This is going to be one of those. Remember when I said that, back on the third or on the second house, how Uranus really screws up Donald Trump? Well, the Uranus kind of sort of screws up Kamala, but I think it's a long-term positive, and I'm going to tell you why. So you have Mercury and Vesta here. This is about a learned thing. If there is a criticism of Kamala, it's that she's not as battle-tested as you would like. And there are some eloquencies that she's just missing, right? Don't make fun of her laugh. Don't be an asshole. Like, come on, really? We don't make fun of your mushroom. Don't make fun of her laugh. Did that go out already? All right. Give me a 7-second delay. But you have Mars matching up. And by the way, when I did my comparison to the two of them, I really thought Kamala was in a great space to push back on Donald because of this placement, because they both have Mars and Leo. Mars and Leo is a fuck around and find out placement. Like, oh yeah? And by the way, for a prosecutor, bingo. For a hardened criminal, bingo. Both of them have what it takes to get over on one another. I love this stuff, don't you? Now, Pluto and Uranus for Kamala are in Virgo. Here's where it runs against her. Where Uranus sitting in Gemini in Donald Trump's second house rather, versus Uranus sitting in the fifth house in Virgo. The Virgo thing is the part that goes wah wah, because she's going to want to do the right thing. She's going to take the higher ground in this. And in a debate format, ugh, punch it in the gut, brother. There's going to be some low hanging fruit, similar to what Biden had, and she's going to, and she'll even say, watch her say, I took the higher ground. We need to bring decorum back into this. If he doesn't want to bring it, so be it, I will. She's going to, this is a bit of a push, but it's going to be a unique thing. At first, again, people are going to come out of this going, Trump mopped her up. And then they're going to fact find it and be like, he told 287,000 lies in less than an hour and 20 minutes. And everybody's going to go like, and she told 3 stretches of the truth. And you're going to be like, okay. The sixth house is where things start to really flip. Because Donald Trump has Neptune sitting in the sixth house, where the basis of this here is the sun, the truth serum, right? Then you have the south node, which is comfortability. Libra is really playing a role right here because Venus in Libra and Lilith in Libra is a real healing element. This is meant to heal. This debate is meant to heal. Donald Trump could choose to heal his image, and I think he's going to. Kamala Harris is trying to heal a country. There's a difference here. Now, on the descendant here, which is Scorpio, you have Kamala's Mercury in conjunct to her sun sitting here on the descendant. This is a very personal position. Then you see Jupiter in Donald Trump along with Chiron. He's hurt when it comes to equality. He's hurt when it comes to the idea that all men are created equally. Donald Trump makes personal attacks on Kamala Harris, and it doesn't play very well. Kamala Harris stands her ground and basically looks him dead in the eye and says, Not today, Satan. This placement, and she will set the tone. And by the way, that's the reason why she'll sacrifice the fifth house here. That's the reason why she'll go like, yeah, you know what? Oh, I'm a nasty woman. That's the best you can do. You're going to call me nasty? I can call you a fat pig. Have another Big Mac, you slob. I'm sorry, was that my outside voice? She can absolutely decimate him on his personal hygiene, on his personal credentials, on his rap sheet. She's not going to do that. She's going to go the higher ground. And although she might allude to it and say, like, well, at least I'm not convicted 34 times. I'm not saying she doesn't pull it out. I'm just telling you she doesn't make it about this. Kamala Harris is going to have her eye on the prize here. And the thing about Neptune from Trump's chart in the sixth house, oh, the world leaders love me the best. I'm the one that know I could end this Putin thing in 2 seconds. Viktor Orban is my bitch. I can get that. Nope. He doesn't have any friends. And if he thinks any of those people that stand up for him in court are his friends, he's absolutely delusional. It's not the delusion of the people that can see through him. It's the people that are actually supplying his air right now that will ultimately slay him. Am I right, Brutus? This is a big win for Harris, the sixth house. Speaking of big wins, how about the seventh house? She's going to talk about partnerships. She's going to talk about reaching across the aisle. She's going to be talking about the need for the UN. She's going to be talking about things such as we don't hurt our relationships with tariffs. We don't hurt our relationships with, oh, you can't pay the bill, screw you. Now, in fairness, Donald Trump brings up a very important thing that most Americans don't see. We don't necessarily see how much money we send off to everybody. And then when we see it, it's in a static thing. And we're like, how did we end up paying a peacetime Ukraine $3 billion a year before their war broke out? And now we pay them $30 billion. I'm sorry, what? Again, it's transparent. You can see it whenever, but what are you going to do about it? Well, this is important. We can't let Ukraine fall because of Putin and fear and so forth and so on. Go back to the 9/11 primer. Fear. Oh my gosh, you're going to lose everything you're going to know. These immigrants are going to come in and take your jobs. With this placement in the seventh house, Kamala Harris is basically going to walk all over them and say, well, from a delusional standpoint, we don't have any of these relationships. But Neptune, even if she doesn't even talk in full reality, which is that tendency, she's going to say, at least we're going to try. See, Neptune is sitting in his sixth house, which is he thinks everybody's in his back pocket. Neptune is sitting in her seventh house, which is we need to build these relationships. And again, and by the way, post World War II, Neptune had a very important role in having Japan do their peace treaty. And again, there were also 2 bombs involved. But Neptune moved into, and if I recall correctly, Neptune actually moved into, it might have actually moved into Libra. Because, yeah, that would make sense. Well, are you guys ready to get, like, really fun? Remember that coolness that I was talking about? Well, in the 8th house, which is the house of other people's money, other resources, sex, death, and taxes, right? Other people involved. Either you're paying it out or you're getting some, right? Well, it's interesting because since they're on the 9 cycle, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are what is known as a 9 cycle. 9 cycles are very karmatic. Part of the reason why 9 is such a symbolic number for elevation and spiritual growth and cycles is because take a look at the nodes. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris's south nodes are both sitting here. They're almost in conjunct, right? Oh, and by the way, another 9 cycle along with the nodes is Lilith. Look at how close the Lilith is here. I'm going to tell you, Donald Trump is going to make some sort of delusional statement because the moon is going to be here and you're going to see him get emotional because the moon is sitting right here and Kamala is going to be not emotional. Checkbox Kamala. Trump is going to get disturbed at some point. He's going to try and play it cool, but there'll be that one thing, and probably about other people's money. My guess, somebody will say something like, do you feel that campaign reform should dictate that you don't give your money to a candidate, give money to their legal defense fund? Donald will say, I can do whatever I want. I'm immune. And then she's going to say, but are you? Are you? Also, take a look at his right ear. I want what he's having. Ponce de Leon down there in Florida. The 9th house is wide open. Wide open. Now, what do voids happen? Yeah, Michelle, this is a little bit of a tough thing. I wish I could kind of blow it up a little more. But the 9th house being void, what do you think that means? Well, not having anything is our opportunity to not have external influences to learn. What are we going to learn tonight? Right? What are we as an American people going to learn? What are the candidates going to learn? What are our constituents going to learn? The 10th house, having Pluto sitting in there natally, means that guess what? And by the way, it's going to be a lot of emphasis on money. They're going to talk a lot about money. Money, 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 money. And then the 11th house. The 11th house has Saturn in it, in Pisces. Kamala not only is about to go through, actually, she went through her Saturn return about 9 months ago. But Saturn is conjunct to Vesta, and then Chiron is the healer. She's learned those things. So if you want to go back to 1992 when she was dating a mayor and think that that's how she got ahead, she learned from that, and that ain't how she rolls anymore. This is a high position of growth. And by the way, the United States needs somebody that's stable. I mean, not a stable genius, but somebody that's actually fucking stable. It's in her chart. She's bringing stability, even in chaos, but it's also a loose boundary stability. It makes the conservatives really screwed up, right? This kind of placement, Saturn in Pisces allows transgender and LGBTQ to become a theme, a topic. Now, on a personal level, I think we're getting to a point to okay, what's our next move? I'm going to be brutally honest what our next move is. And I'm a person of conviction. 10th House Publishers, we have one book that came out last week. We have another book that's coming out next week. We are going to an LGBTQ book emporium, and we are having a booth. You are like, what are you doing? Are your stories about LGBTQ? Nope. But I'm sure shit going to support a book market that would be equally as banned as I would be. So in a funny sort of way, all of this rhetoric of what should get banned and everything else has created these bedfellows. And quite frankly, I have incredibly wonderful friendships out of that. I'm a better person because they told me that my book was going to be banned. I've met people around the world. Now, the 12th house, by the way, checkbox Kamala on the 11th. And by the way, he doesn't have anything to pull on here. He actually doesn't have any structure tonight. But he'll have a demeanor and he'll have a tone and he'll make a mistake. And then you have the 12th house. Oh, the 12th house. Do you see the lineup here? Do you see the lineup of Vesta and Neptune? Guess what? This is Donald Trump's time of lessons. Kamala Harris has one thing that's both disturbing and very cool all at the same time. Her Taurus moon is sitting on, or actually her Aries moon is sitting on the Taurus rising here. Emotionally, she's got it together. She might be a little too calculated for you, but okay. It's also going to be in conjunct to what Chiron is doing here on this day. I'm telling you, if I was an astrologer and Kamala's party came up to me and said, "What do you think of this day?" I'd be like, everything I just said. Donald Trump is going to try and bring his family into this. He's going to try and talk about how he's like the best thing ever. And by the way, I assume it starts at 9. I hope it didn't start already. And I know some of you are just checking in on this because you knew I was going to do this. But in a nutshell, I think this is going to be an edge out for Kamala, even though it might look like it's a bit of a win for Donald in some respects coming out of it. So it'll be like, yeah, there's some, and you'll even hear the people say, they'll be like, yeah, I thought it was 9 o'clock. You know, you'll have some people. Thank you for that, Sandra. So you'll have some people that'll, you know, the pontiffs are going to sit there and go, hey, some of you are great. You know, some people think that, you know, Donald Trump was the most amazing thing ever, and some people think that it was, you know, 100% Kamala and that sort of thing. You're always going to hear what you want to hear. But on the flip side of that, I think that the general consensus is going to be Kamala tweaks this out. He is going to have a long-term problem with these family statements, and when he tried to belittle her, because it's in the chart. And by the way, Donald Trump, people are going to be like, I'm really impressed that he really kind of pulled his shit together, and he was demeanor, and he didn't go after her, and then all of a sudden he went after her just once, just once, just once. Come on, nobody's perfect. He's still a man. He can still make mistakes, right? All right, I'm going to do a couple of shuffle up and heels. I hope you guys don't mind. Hope you guys don't mind that we're going to add this up onto the. Oh, there's my drink. By the way, Minnesota Twins. How do you like that? The one thing that I really got for myself. I still haven't told you what I've done during my summer vacation, but you know, here we are. All right, guys. So line up. Give me a shout out here. And by the way, I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope that you stay informed. I do not like I want you to trust your gut. I just want you to trust your gut. And by the way, if that sounds like I'm just trying to line up a bunch of Democrats to vote for Kamala Harris, okay. If you think that if your gut tells you that our democracy needs to really have this giant shakeup 6 ways to Sunday and lose all of our rights in the process, then you know how to vote. Vacation was interesting. And now I've had, what do I have? Oh, I have a receipt down there. So, all right, guys, who am I going to drag into this? Hey, Michelle, thanks so much for asking me. How's my vacation? I don't know. I'm going to give you 3 cards, though. How about I do this, too? I always find that this is a little bit of a better thing here, right? Sounds like a plan. Oh, all right. Figuring this out. This is my camera angle. This was upright. There we go. All right, Gigi, I see you there, kiddo. All right, Michelle. 7 of Wands, higher ground. Then you have the Page of Cups. This is about something new. So this is taking what you've known and stepping into it. And thank you very much, Ace of Pentacles. Wow, I love this spread already. So Michelle, what this is talking about, I see, Kay. This is about taking the higher ground. This is about recognizing and trusting that things are going to work out to your advantage. You got somebody looking out for you. I don't know if this is dad, maybe father figure, that sort of thing. Not really sure. Not really sure, but here we are. Oh, by the way, I want to thank you guys for all of the love that you guys gave me for the Snoopy deck. I'm going to keep going with this. Ace of Pentacles. What does this tell you? This is you taking the higher ground already, Michelle. Whew. And then you got the Queen of Spades. The Queen of Spades sitting here with the Page of Cups is you saying, you know what? I got to do what's right by me. Nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with that at all. Oh, and then we have the Magician here. Yeah, this is a father figure looking out for you, kid. 100%. Michelle, do you have dad? Were you close to a grandfather? There's a lot going on there with this one. Michelle, I hope you like this one. I'm sorry, defenselessness. Righting past wrongs in uprooting. Whew. I'm going to tell you where this is going to go. And I hate to predict stuff like this or comment on stuff like this because it's very personal. This really talks about maybe the parents weren't necessarily the best providers, or maybe they didn't leave as much instruction as they should have. They weren't very clear with things, but for some reason, everything kind of worked itself out, and they've let you know, even in passing, that every little thing is gonna be all right now. How about that one? Michelle, I hope it resonates with you. I hope that really kind of rolls for you because but I'll catch up after base. Let's do cards. Okay. Robin's like, okay, can we do cards now? Yeah, sure thing. I see you there, Kathy. Yeah, Sandra. Hey, how are you? We're gonna shuffle you up. Ooh, you seem to get this card a lot. This is the Eight of Wands showing up. This means fast, quick moving. And then you get the Devil card. What's going on? What's his name? Maybe that's what I should ask. Huh? And then you have Justice, Libra. So this is a Libra season thing. I think what this is, let's see what Snoopy has to say. You mind if I check in with Snoopy here? Here we go. All right. The Fool card. Yeah, this is about something new. And what are you overcoming here? Yeah, this is overcoming something that's either burdening you, maybe it's got an addictive quality to it, but maybe this is you kind of going, you know what, I'm going to get through this and I want to feel better and balanced with it. I want to be able to kind of like see what's good for me, right? And be able to kind of like roll with it. And then the Knight of Cups shows up. Wow. So this is about really this is finding a new way to love yourself or your situation. That's what this is. Wow. That's pretty good, Sandra. I like this. I love my job. This is We Are the Hathors. Deep love, mother's milk, birth is a portal. This is about a new you. This is about reinventing yourself a little bit. This is about you stepping into your own truth. This is you kind of going like, yeah, I know it wasn't the best look, but here I am today. And I want it to change. And therefore it'll change. It'll change. By the way, I love the fact that you guys do know that we're eating up some of these cards so that then we can get to the right cards to do the cards for the debate, right? You guys do know that. Thank you again for watching there, Sandra. Hey, Kelly, how are you? Hand raised. Like that. Ace of Swords. Ooh, somebody's got a new mindset. And by the way, mindsets can also come in when you're in a relationship where you hit a certain point and you go, this is where it all falls apart. Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles shows up. And then here are the choices. Hi, how you doing? I'm a curveball for 200, Alex. So what this is telling me is that your choices, your practicality are leading you to more ideas and more change, more possibilities. Look at this go. You got the Star card, my favorite card, actually, in the Snoopy deck, just to let you know. Way awesome. Wheel of Fortune. This is a matriarchal thing This is you being in charge of this. Maybe it's you taking charge of the kids differently. Maybe it's kind of your, holy shit, Sandra, congratulations. 15 years sober, huh? Chicken dinner. And Kelly, 2 of Wands. Wow. So some choices are going to need to come down the pipe here. But you know that you were destined to make yourself into this choice. And maybe other people have maybe presented themselves to you. Or maybe other situations. This could be you moving. This could be you saying, I always wanted to own my own home, but this guy's pretty good, so maybe I'll move in with him. It could also mean like I like this coast, but they want me to move to that coast and that sort of thing, right? Kelly, how am I doing over here? You're not for everyone. Embrace your weirdness. Face your true north. If I'm too much, go find less, right? I am so proud of you, Sandra. Oh, Kelly, I'm nailing it, huh? That's what she said. So, boom. All right. Well, I'll take that boom. And sometimes your gifts can outshine where that is. And that star card might, what was your undercard? Oh, Ace of Swords. So I almost get the feeling then, based on your commentary on that, like maybe they're trying to say to you, like, well, no, this is just reality. You have to see it my way. And then you're turning around going, no, I'm kind of the bad bitch here. Right? Some people, I just had somebody tell me this. I'm going to do some more readings. Don't you worry. But it's somebody that had just met somebody and it was going along really, really well, like super duper well. And she had a couple of cats. And sure enough, they got to that point where he's like, he wakes up the next morning. He goes, do you have a cat? Because I'm like all swollen. And then she goes, well, yeah, I have 2 cats. I talk about my 2 cats all the time. What's wrong with you? And then he goes, yeah, I'm like allergic to them. Like, how much are the cats a non-negotiable? Like, he hasn't even showered yet. Like, everybody's still fresh with each other. And he's asking, can I kick the cats out? And she's like, it wasn't that good. You gotta go, buddy. I don't know. I don't know who you are or who you think you are, but nope. So non-negotiables are a thing, but this person identified with her cats. She talks about her cats. She blogs her cats. Right? And she's not a cat lady. Obviously, she was picking up somebody at the end of the bar, at least. Yeah, Meow was right. But on the flip side of that, it's like she wasn't willing to change who she was because she knew who she was. Right? You cannot change the core of somebody. And once had somebody say to me, like, I could do work with you, I could do business with you, but you can't act like this. You can't act like this in public. And I go, act like what? And they're like, this. And I said, well, I don't know how else to act than to be me. Because I tried to be not me for a long time. And I put on a ton of weight and I did a lot of things to hurt myself. So I'm not going back to that. So if this isn't okay, I'll be on a YouTube channel by myself. Got it? By the way, we have a podcast coming up on Thursday. We have a surprise guest. It's going to be 11:30 Eastern time. You'll catch it later. I know you will. I know how you guys roll. Pauline, the astrology is actually now. It is actually now because it's the what do you call it? It's the debate. That's what I based it on. If that made sense. Oh yeah, here's our old friend. Hey Kathy, how are you? By the way, Kathy has this little symbol right here because she subscribes to the channel. So you want to get to the front of the line? That's kind of a way to do it. Sun, here comes the sun. How about that, George Harrison? How about if I actually show the cards? Oh, there it is. Ba, ba, da, ba. George Harrison. Is he your favorite Beatle? Or was it the King of Cups? Was it John Lennon? Ooh, this is a 1-2. I don't know, Kathy. Kathy, what you up to, girl? The sun is about centering yourself. The sun is about making it about yourself. It is about resonating in your own truth. Everything I just said, double down on. King of Cups is about self-love and understanding how it is that you do. Maybe a little over the top. Maybe a little bit, but sometimes you need that in order to do it. Sometimes you just don't need a day to yourself. Sometimes you need a weekend or even a week. And then the Six of Cups is a new adventure. It's a new way of life. Now, Kathy, listen, if you're looking to kind of say like, hey, I want a little mini me, this is a great layout here. But if you're looking to say, hey, I just need some subtle changes so that then I can do what it is that I need to do and become who I'm meant to be, then there we go. And guess what? The Hierophant, lights please. Oh, look at that, the sun. And then the Queen of Pentacles. Oh, this is a relationship thing. Holy Jesus. Wow. I'm almost afraid to stop. I need my own sound bites on this. I have a board called the Stream Deck that I haven't used in forever. I need to get these signs back on here. Six of Cups with the Six of Cups. Guess what? We're doubling down on this. You two are both on the same page. Kathy, congratulations. The Sun, along with the Hierophant, is really kind of you being your authentic self. The King of Cups, along with the Queen of Pentacles, is taking out, by the way, one of the super practical combo platters right there when it comes to relationships would be the King of Cups along with the Queen of Pentacles, like really kind of getting it down. And then you have the Six of Cups. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to shake the tree a little bit. Maybe you want to go in a different direction. Maybe you want to go somewhere. Let me know if that resonates with you, because that just really rolls with that. That really rolls with that combination, right? Oh my gosh, Jenny, you met a Herald. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, no excuses. Hey, Kate, how are you? The day just got away, kid. Yeah, these cards are pretty awesome, aren't they? All right, what are we going to cap this with? Where are we going to do here? The Cosmic Heart. Kathy, you got to fill us in a little bit. This is just all relationships. This is just one relationship bomb after another. The Cosmic Heart, devotion, potency. Make life a moving prayer. Oh, just like a prayer. I am getting like I'm on the verge of something big. Yeah. Totally. Well, Kathy, rock and roll that one. Glad you popped on. Glad you are you got it, kid. I love how Rita just kind of goes like, hey, you got any cards over there? Yeah, we do. Hey, Pauline, I see you too. Rita, I think you're up next here. The High Priestess. Living large, doing it your own way. The King of Pentacles. Whenever the BJ card comes out and the King of Pentacles comes out, it means somebody was negotiating. And then Seven of Pentacles. Look familiar, Rita? Look familiar, Rita? So the High Priestess looks back into the past, looks back into challenges, mistakes, lessons, all of that stuff. It's got a hint of Lilith, but it actually has a lot more to do with Vesta. It has to do with a little bit of healing and kind of understanding it there. The B and the J for the last time, everybody, is Boaz and Joachim. It is a throwback to the Torah and understanding the writers of the Torah. This is ancient wisdom. Then you have the Knight of Pentacles. This is some dude showing up going, I have a Toyota Corolla because I've got it where it counts and I don't need to portray it in my car. And you're like, wow, that's a solid offer. That's fantastic. Does that mean you have a job? And then they're like, yes, I have a job. And you're like, do you have like enough money to go out? Sure, I'll pay, no problem. And you're like, oh. And then you're like, wait a minute, do you live in your mom's basement? And then he's like, no, but I take care of my mother. All right, that's a little bit of a red flag. What do you mean you take care of her mother? Well, I pay for her placement for her home. You got to wrap that one up, kid. I'm telling you. But wait, there's more. There's more. Oh yeah. Four of Pentacles. You're a little worried about losing things. You're worried about. There's a little bit of the FOMO, the FOMO card, if you will, right? Then you have the Two of Swords. Yeah, you're trying to decide on somebody. I did not know. I don't know if you're just jumping in the pools here. And then you have Temperance, which I totally love because it's milk being poured into a cup here. Not poured. It is poured into a cup. And I love that the Temperance is milk. 15 years. 6 new beginnings. So where I'm going to bring you to on this, Rita, is there's a dynamic here where you're a little bit of afraid of going back to some practicalities. You know you have to make a choice with somebody, but it's an intuitive choice. Whenever this, these are spades in the Snoopy card, but it's swords, right? So what this is saying to you is you've got to trust your heart and head here. And then you're like, failure to launch, remember that one. Remember that, like, maybe it doesn't really come to fruition. Even the positive kind of lets you know, like, oh, that's really nice, but what are you going to do with it? And then you have temperance where you're like, oh, I bailed on this before. Maybe I shouldn't do that this time. Ooh, interesting cards for Rita. Rita, it's just us girls. It's okay. We can talk about it. And then we have an activated earth. This is the power places, ley lines, trust where you're led. Here's intuition coming up again. Coming up yet again. Love this. Rita, good luck in this loved one here. Hey, Pauline, hey, we're coming to you. Don't you worry. I see you there. Let me clear the deck. Let me just kind of start to roll out here because Pauline, we're losing out a little bit here. We're letting something go. We've got a little bit of loss in this. And then, the Charlie Brown deck's a lot of fun. By the way, I will tell you when you get it up close, it is not quality necessarily, but the pictures themselves are enough. And I wanted to buy a couple of cards because I was going to Minneapolis. And guess what? There it is. Card for the Niners and for the Vikings. Oh, you know what I should do? On Wednesday night, I'm going to do next week's picks. I'm going to do that tomorrow night. I'm going to go out, dinner with the guys, and then I'm going to turn around. I'm going to come back and I'm going to do that. Oh, this is about getting you to the right place here, Pauline. Pauline, this is everything from addiction. This is everything to you cutting your losses. This is you saying it's not everything I wanted it to be. And then the Ace of Cups is going, yeah, well, you only got 2 cups here, but you've chosen wisely. Chosen wisely. And then you have the 10 of Pentacles here. Oh, you get an abundance card after this, Pauline. I'm almost a little I'm always a little jealous, which is why I said jealous instead of justice. I have been running a deficiency on sleep ever since I traveled. I got to wrap my arms around this and it's not just sleep. It's almost like my routine has to get better, right? Anyways, all right. Then we have the Page of Wands. So this is about you approaching things differently. And I'm going to tell you what this is. This is you coming back into money, finding a job again, doing something or whatever. And then the Page of Wands comes in like, we're going to use it a little bit differently this time. This is like a usage versus abundance card. This is you saying, it's all good. It's going to work out, right? And then, of course, we come up with the higher ground. We come up with the 7 of Wands here, along with the 10 of Pentacles. This is you saying, I'm not willing to give it away again. Maybe this is you saying no to somebody that might want you to share in their wealth or be able to present that their business idea is doing so well or something like that, right? Up my minerals are definitely, and I've been taking a shower before I go to bed, actually, especially when I've been doing group work. 7 Star Sisters, Birthing Creation, Tapestry of Life and Expression. Listen, the ancestors are working with it. Nothing but girl power here on this one. This one allows you to present yourself in just a way that everybody can kind of get behind. And, you're not being a victim. You're being something very creative, very, very realistic in all of that, right? It's interesting. Hey, Jenny, I owe you a reading here. I know we ran out of time here. I think it's funny. So, Pauline, great spread for you here. Keep your chin up, do the right thing, follow your intuition, stand your higher ground. Jenny, I owed you last week, and I just ran out of time, and you are the perfect person for me to roll with. All right, so we got the 4 of Cups here. The FOMO card comes out. This is about loss of somebody. This is about a soulmate card. This is about you being attached to somebody. And then here is the Star card. This is them looking down on you from above, saying, I won't forget you, babe. This is the 4 of Cups, your loss. You're like, oh no, I'm missing out. Your 2 of Pentacles, meaning, hey, listen, this is really us being together in this life, although not necessarily romantically. but in a need basis type of thing. The star card is about your connection with this person, past lives. Past lives. Who says this? The High Priestess. Psychiatric help is in. I love these cards. These cards are a lot of fun, aren't they? And then you have the Ace of Spades. So what this is to me, Ace of Spades, of course, is the Ace of Swords, which is you had to wrap. You really kind of knew how special this person is, and I think it was Dad. If the Star card along with the Marriage card, did you just get introduced to somebody here? You mentioned Harold from my dad. I met Harold since then. What's going on with you and Harold? Again, it's just us girls. What are you guys doing? Oh, breath from the cosmos. My will and thy will. Micromanaging the universe. I think I just told you your dad is totally hooking you up right now. Whoa, that's a lot, Jenny. That is a lot. You guys are a romantic man? When you had a first date? Oh my God, I'm just going to tell you this right now, Jenny. Will it work? I think I just told you it's going to work. Your loss, you go back to the basics. And by the way, I think you met this person in a very, like you met him because of a friend, or you felt connected to him, or you ran into him at the grocery store. You were both buying pickles or something, right? Isn't that the classic way to meet somebody? I think everybody should meet somebody while buying pickles. And I'm going to know who follows that advice, because when I go to your house and there's like 10,000 jars of pickles, I'll be like, gherkin. Anyways, so this really kind of lays that out there nicely. This is somebody that you guys have a match for, but they're going to challenge you mentally. They're not going to let you have it. They're going to let you think. They're going to have you think. Star card, this is destiny along with the Marriage card. I love my work. I love my work. And I'm kind of sort of good at this, don't you think? All right, I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to give, I owed somebody a card. When you do this work, you meet people. Thank you, Jenny. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope it works out. We don't need graphic detail, the pickle movement. I love that. We don't need graphic detail, but we would like to know updates from time to time. Continue to tune in. SOC3, this one's for you. 5 of... There we go. So far, so good. All right, Jenny. Listen, I don't want to tell you to wear your seatbelt, but wear all safety devices at all times till you really get to know one another. Are you picking up what I'm putting down, Jenny? Things have changed a little bit. It looks like a pimple, and it's not. Anyways, SOC3, 5 of Wands. You're like, don't do this to me. I will. The Emperor card. And the Celebration card. Wow. That's pretty balls on there. Fall retreat is October 1st to the 14th. It sure is. It sure is. So SOC, where am I going to go with this one? The Knight of Spades. This is the struggle. This is trying to get back to it, and this is a release to joy. This is the battle. The fight. The 9 of Cups. This is my abundance. This is what I have. This is what I can share with you in this life. 3 of Cups along with the Knight of Wands. This is about never giving up and always charging forward. Right? Wow. Earthed. Learning how the human world is, but not of it. I think we just helped her cross. Hey, Lenny, I just jumped on. That's why. Nothing's broken. I just jumped on. I forgot to set something. But I'm going to do another one tomorrow night with football picks. And Carolyn, there you go, kiddo. Rest in peace, because that's the way it goes. All right. I'm going to do a little bit more of a spread here with this one. Hope you guys bear with me. That's not it. That's not it. We're going to remove that. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Can I do this one? No. Are you overcompensating for something, are you? Yeah. Can't see anything. There we go. Here we go into the debate. I'm going to roll out some cards. We're going to do some spread here with what to expect from this debate. I think this is going to be a very, and by the way, if you made it this far and you want to see the chart about what goes on in this, in the 12 possible quadrants, in the 12 houses, I think I gave 5 to Donald, I gave 6 to Kamala, and then one of them was kind of a bit of a wash. So I'm not trying to get you excited. I'm not trying to lead you down paths of like, hey, they're going to win. Still got to vote. Still got to vote. We could get very complacent right now. All right, I'm going to pull out a really unique spread here. All right. Now, these are uprights. Ooh, we're going to go right here with this one. We got the 8 of Cups, which means that something's missing. Something's missing. The 8 of Cups is about a loss and recognizing that it's a loss. What could that mean, right? Could it mean that, oh, yeah, have we lost our way? Oh, this debate might be a little bit of a love fest, everybody. We might have a little bit of like the, yeah, you're a very beautiful woman. I should be able to touch you whenever I want. Oh, and by the way, this is the fight the universe wanted. The Wheel of Fortune comes out because it's about destiny. It's also fixed energy. And by the way, having him be a Leo rising really, plays to this, right? So this is kind of laying this out here, as in like, hey, the universe has spoken. This is what the universe has to say. Now, what are we going to see into the day to day? Right? What are we going to see into the day to day? Oh, King of Wands. Somebody's going to be a dick. This is BDE. This is, kind of walking up going, who's in charge? I'm in charge. Anybody else in charge? No, it's me. I'm the one that's in charge. I'm the one that's going to really be about. Oh, the Hierophant comes out. The Hierophant is kind of like are we going to do this the right way? Are we going to be able to kind of see it the way that we want to see it? Are we going to be able to, create a determinant to it? And right now, you guys are kind of like, oh, what are we seeing here? Oh, ladies. The Empress shows up. Connected to the Wheel of Fortune card. The 2 of Cups, along with the Wheel of Fortune, this is what we wanted to see. We're kind of done with losing out a little bit. I think we all feel removed a little bit from the political system. That's what's reinvigorating us in a way. Then you have this King of Wands, little pompous, little sure of himself, little ready to go. The Hierophant, which is getting back to basics. It's getting back to the way that we can do it the way that we need to, right? This is a super important day, guys. This is a super important day. Now, is this going to be everything that we need? Probably not. But I'll tell you what, I want to leave a little bit of room right here for the centerpiece here, because I want to drop the Ace of Wands here. By the way, pretend these are upright. I'm just doing this for the space. This is about us kind of taking on the fire in a new direction. These are new ideas. This is new approach. This is new kind of like going back in time and going, whoop, pulling it out, right? This allows the Ace of Wands here. I freaking love it. I love it because it's us. The people that are really making a difference right now are the ones that are saying, I want something different. I don't know what the last even 8 years are, but it didn't fucking work. None of it worked. None of it worked. Old white men don't work anymore. There, I fucking said it out loud. Right? Old ways, old containment ways. Putting women back in the kitchen doesn't work. Telling grandmothers to raise their babies doesn't work. Making fun of cat women doesn't work. Kicking immigrants out inconspicuously because we think they might do something doesn't work. And why doesn't it work? Can't make this up. How's the world card, everybody? How about us becoming a leader in the world again? And by the way, being a leader doesn't mean that you're always right. Being a leader, this combo platter is us going to the UN going, So, listen, we've been teaching ourselves some lessons over here for the last couple of years. Yeah, about that, Miss Markle. We're very sorry for Mr. Trump for that one, right? Oh, Mr. Putin, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to grow a pair here, and we're going to have to step up our game. And by the way, it might get ugly for a while, guys. We might actually have to put boots on the ground and start kicking some ass. And it's not about negotiating somebody because they have pictures of us with Russian prostitutes. How about we actually stand on our own 2 feet here? That's what this is talking about. Okay, world, let's go change some shit. Let's go get this to where we need to, right? All right. What does Snoopy have to say? Death. Poor freaking Woodstock. The death card comes out because this is about evolution and change. This is us looking at our losses going, you know what this is? This is 248 years of us saying, oh, we almost got it right. Do we start with a new canvas or do we kind of touch up what we got? That's what this is. Oh, Two of Cups along with the King of Cups. What does this talk about? This talks about loving in a way that just allows you to take the emotion out of it and caring for people. It's not getting too moony about it, right? Oh, trust our intuition. What have I been saying? What have I been saying? I'm telling you, I'm getting so good at this, right? I love that Magical Mermaid. 3,000 years of old books fading as a digital consciousness evolves. Thank you, Uranus. How about the Eight of Swords, the Eight of Spades here? This is the one in the traditional tarot deck where she's blindfolded and all the swords are around her. What does this talk about? Trusting our intuition. And by the way, the Wheel of Fortune is destiny. Maybe all of this has been a social experiment for us to understand how our intuition works. Sign up for the classes. The week we be. What is Donald Trump about? He's about the Eight of Pentacles. He's about spinning the story. He's about taking care of opulence. Let me reap what I've sowed. Let me pick everything off of here. In other words, money, 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 money. Money. Don't let money fool you. Oh. The Hierophant, covered by the Tower. Listen, I don't change I don't make any of this stuff up. Why would the Tower show up right here? The Tower showing up on the Hierophant looks like it's going to blow up some old white men. Sorry. Maybe this is burning the establishment. Maybe this is saying, your limitations ain't the way it's going to go. Right? Where we're going with this one here, Empress. And by the way, this is as plain as day. This is the King of Wands. Here's Trump. The Hierophant. Here's your moderator. Here's your whatever. This moderator is going to crash and burn. And oh, by the way, the structure is going to look a little different. Kamala Harris getting the Lover's card. You have a choice, everybody. Whew. Very intuitive card. A lot of Gemini right there. Where's the Ace of Wands coming out of this? Oh, the Nine of Wands, the Wounded Warrior. Right? So the Ace of Wands is kind of this new idea, but how did we get there? We got here from the Nine of Wands, which is we've been beat up a little before. We've been through it. We've been, the Wounded Warrior is the one where he's on one knee and he's got the Spirit of 76 scarf on his head. 9 + 1 is 10, everybody. Maybe we get to abundance because of how we piece it together. Oh, and here we go. And by the way, do enjoy the debate tonight. Hard taps. Tune in tomorrow night. I'm going to start doing football picks. I'm going to have fun with that. The World card. That's right, Lenny. That's how it rolls. Can't make this stuff up. What does the world need? Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands shows up. You know what this? You know what this is? You know what this is here? Miss Harris, the floor is yours. Hey, Donald, can you feel that? Can you feel the wand doing whatever it wants to you? Controlled by a strong, confident woman? Because when you're a strong, confident woman, they just let you do it, Donald. They let you do whatever you want. That's why I always have a breath. I'm not picking sides here, but I just told you which side's going to win. All right, guys, hard taps. Hard taps that we get this country back to where we are sane again. Hard taps, guys, across the board. Tune in tomorrow. I'll have a football special. Thank you for the suggestion. I love this stuff. Have too much fun with it. I will be picking each one of the games based on tariff. I might turn famous for that one. Of all of the hokey shit I could do, that's the thing people will tune in for? Probably. All right, guys. Take care. Hard taps. Talk to you soon. Keep going.